Good evening, everyone. I'm Julie Gutman Dickinson, a managing partner at Bush Gottlieb, a union-side labor law firm here in LA, and a proud board member of the Peggy Browning Fund. I'm honored to be your MC this evening and to welcome you to the Peggy Browning Fund 2021 Los Angeles Virtual Awards Program. Tonight, we're celebrating 24 years of providing law students with experience in advocating for the rights and needs of workers. And we're also celebrating 3 truly outstanding honorees, leaders who've dedicated their lives to improving the standard of living and job security of workers and their families, and mounted very successful campaigns that have inspired people across the country. Tonight's awardees are Eric Tate, Duncan Crabtree Ireland, and the UTLA Educators Campaign, represented by Cecily Mayart Cruz. Along with our awardees, we'd like to thank members of the host committee for their success in raising funds to help support PBF's important programs during the pandemic. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a beverage of your choice, as I'm pleased to share the following message from the Peggy Browning Fund's president, Joe Lurie.
My name is Joe Lurie. I'm president of the Peggy Browning Fund. I'm also founder of the Peggy Browning Fund. Peggy was my wife, and this fund was founded as a legacy to her. She was a very big believer in workplace justice, the labor movement, unions. I think she's certainly a person who cared for people. She was a union-side labor lawyer, and she was the first union-side labor lawyer appointed to the National Labor Relations Board. And she was passionate about the labor movement and believed in unionism throughout the country. And she was a progressive person, and she put her words in actions. Unfortunately, about a year after she got appointed on the board, she developed breast cancer. And throughout the whole cancer, she never missed a day. She was the toughest person I ever met, and she was impassioned about the labor movement, and also a great woman, and a fun partner. After she passed away, I decided to honor her by establishing the Peggy Browning Fund and continuing her legacy. I came up with this idea to encourage law students who are progressive and interested perhaps in the labor movement to work for economic and social justice in the United States. I decided that I could do this by setting up a nonprofit. And it worked. It worked extremely well. Our summer fellowship program is the first activity we undertook when we started this organization. It has become the central part of our work. Each year, we place law students with mentor organizations in the labor movement across the country, such as unions, worker centers, union-side law firms, and nonprofit organizations. These students have the opportunity to experience what a career would be like advocating for workplace justice. This year so far, we've placed 81 law students in paid positions at 65 mentor organizations for this summer. We have found an enormous increase in applications this year, over 23% more than last year. Some of this increase, we believe, is due to the fact that we were able to offer all of our 2020 fellows paid positions in mentor organizations. And we ensured that our students could work from home and have a successful experience. The word got out, and we're very proud of that. The second program is our National Law Students Workers' Rights Conference, held over 2 days every year in October. Students participate in workshops, panel discussions, keynote addresses, and networking. On an average, we have 170 to 180 law students from all across the country. In 2020, because of the virus, we live streamed the conference virtually over 3 days. This was wonderful. We hosted 178 students and were able to draw from labor and employment law experts from all over the country. Our third program is our regional workshop program. I'm advocating for workers' rights. Each year in the fall, we coordinate 1-hour panel discussions at law schools across the country, from NYU to Southern University, from Harvard to UC Irvine and Washington University. In 2020, we coordinated 14 virtual workshops sharing what it's like to practice law for workplace justice. We know that workers' rights everywhere are being attacked. Labor needs lawyers, and law positions are available to young lawyers and older lawyers who come out of law school today and say, okay, I want to do this type of work. And we hope that the fellows that we produce are passionate and add that passion to the work they do in the labor movement and indeed make the labor movement stronger. It's a legacy for progressives in the United States who care about the labor movement, who care about workplace justice. And without you guys, that couldn't happen. So I thank you dearly for your contributions. We ask that if you know anyone, of course, who might be interested in supporting a program like ours and becoming part of our legacy, that you reach out to them. It's just been a great joy for me, and in a sense, almost a gift to work on something like this after practicing law for over 60 years. So, yeah.
Joe has tenaciously carried forward the vision of Peggy Browning, building up and transforming this wonderful organization over the years as president, board member, and chief volunteer. We can't thank you enough, Joe. Events like tonight's are the primary means of supporting our programs. We host similar annual receptions in Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and San Francisco. Thank you all for your support of our programs. You'll notice that we're displaying the logos of tonight's supporters on screen during the program. We have recognized our Leadership Circle members, those who make annual leadership level gifts, and tonight's sponsors, without whom this awards program would not have been possible. Also, it's my pleasure to recognize our Guardian sponsors. If you're moved by the messages of our speakers this evening and would like to make a gift yourself or an additional gift, feel free to make a pledge now on the form below. We'll contact you later to fulfill your pledge so you don't have to leave the program. If you'd like to make a gift after the program, you can use the link below or go directly to our website at www.peggybrowningfund.org. All gifts are greatly appreciated and needed, particularly during these challenging times. Thank you. Each year, we call upon one of our summer fellowship alumni to share their fellowship experience. We feel there's no better way to demonstrate the impact of our programs than to hear it directly from a fellowship recipient. Tonight, we've asked 2020 Summer Fellow Hugo Garcia to share his thoughts on choosing a career representing workers and their families, and his experience as a summer fellow during a pandemic. Hugo is in his second year at Loyola Law School. He worked at United Food and Commercial Workers Union in Washington, D.C. last summer. Before law school, Hugo was a political coordinator for the Koreatown Immigrant Workers Alliance. While an undergraduate at UC Berkeley, he participated in the AFL-CIO's Union Summer Program, organizing workers in LA's Clean Car Wash campaign. He also interned with the labor staff of the U.S. Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, collaborating on the workplace action for a growing economy. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Hugo Garcia.
My name is Hugo Garcia. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I studied at UC Berkeley, and now I'm a second-year law student at Loyola Marymount University Law School. I grew up here in Los Angeles, in downtown LA area. Growing up in an immigrant community, I got to see a lot of the struggles for working class families. Throughout my childhood, I saw my parents work a series of low-wage jobs and struggle with wage theft. And so that was one of the reasons that inspired me to seek a career in labor and employment law. I'm the first one in my family to graduate from college, the first one to go to law school. When I went to law school, I knew that I wanted to continue to be involved in the labor movement, given my experience. And so when I applied for the Peggy Browning Fund Fellowship and I was selected to be a fellow, I knew that it was part of my journey. I was really excited. At the UFCW, I had an opportunity to work with all the attorneys in the legal department, and it has been by far the most rewarding experience in law school. I had a chance to work with a diverse set of projects ranging from safety and health issues to strategic bargaining, looking at cases that were in front of the National Labor Relations Board, and working on just a vast array of issues that came up because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Some of the highlights were being able to meet with the general counsel and having the opportunity to be mentored by not one or two attorneys, but the whole team there. I had a chance to write first draft briefs, to write memoranda that was distributed to regions across the United States regarding to safety and health protocols that should be implemented by employers. This moment is very critical for the fight for workplace justice. From employers not implementing safety and health standards at the workplace and putting workers at risk of getting infected. The pandemic affected the fellowship where we had to transition to go fully remote. Luckily, we had the ability to use all the means of communication through online format. The team at UFCW did a wonderful job of incorporating and integrating me and my co-fellow into the work that we were doing. We were able to still have mixers and networking events through the Peggy Browning Fund, and we were also paired up with mentors. I was very interested in labor advocacy when I went into law school, but through this fellowship, it just reinforced my vision that I want to become a labor attorney. And seeing the health crisis that this pandemic has brought, it made it all very clear to me that we're at a very critical moment and that the labor movement needs labor lawyers to fight for workplace justice. I want to express my gratitude to the supporters of the Peggy Browning Fund. Through my experience, I've gained the confidence and gained the conviction that I am in the right path. And even though the labor movement faces a lot of challenges, I know that the training that I got through the summer fellowship has prepared me for the journey ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hugo. You truly represent the future of labor advocacy that we are all here to support. At this point in the program, we usually encourage you to meet our wonderful fellows and alumni representatives of the Peggy Browning Fund, who are usually in the room this evening. Since we're not together in person, I'll suggest that you visit PBF's website and click on the 2020 Fellows brochure to see for yourself why our mentors and many labor organizations that are hiring have come to prefer a Peggy Browning alumnus. Tonight, we start the awards section of our program with a special message from our fearless leader and my dear friend, Ron Herrera. Ron is an icon in the labor and immigrant rights movement. He is one of a kind in his ability to bring people together and to literally move mountains to get things done for low-wage workers, immigrants, and all in need in the fight against poverty, wage theft, abuse, and inequality. Ron will stop at nothing in the war against corporate greed. I've stood by his side during strikes where he's led massive crowds in rally and then civil disobedience, getting arrested to fight for the rights of low-wage immigrant workers. Ron is the president of the Los Angeles County Federation of Labor, International Vice President, Western Region for the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Director of the Teamsters Port Division, Secretary-Treasurer of Teamsters Local 396, and also a previous recipient of the Peggy Browning Award.
I want to congratulate all of you for receiving this award. I am a past recipient and I was very honored to receive the award. But the award means a lot more than what you may be thinking it does. It's a thank you to you. It's a thank you for all your hard work. The Peggy Browning Fund saw something in you, and that's the future of a progressive leader. I look at labor rights as a battle, as a war, and every attendee in the room has to fit in to the army of labor. The partnership is more a brother and sisterhood with our attorneys, with our young lawyers who we need. They are in the front lines of this battle. They walk shoulder to shoulder with us, arm in arm with us. And the only way that we're going to defeat our enemy, which is corporate greed, is innovative legal solutions through our experts. So we want to get young lawyers to believe in the causes that we believe in. I'm often asked what motivated me to get into this line of work, to become a union official, to become a union member. It's the struggle of poor people. It's the struggle of an abused worker. It's a struggle of inequality. It's a struggle of discrimination. I would have to go back to the foundation of my family, coming out of the copper mines of Clifton and Morenci, Arizona, and what it was like for my grandfather to be a miner in the 1920s. But he was part of a group of Latino workers that received half the pay of his counterparts who were white. My family was part of the deportations because of strikes that miners called back in those days. So that history runs deep in my veins. And still today, I am motivated by my ancestry, and it will continue to motivate me my entire career. It's really unfortunate that the same issues that my ancestors fought, we're fighting today. We have to recruit our own army to combat these things. And thank you to the Peggy Browning Fund for being a component of that army. To all my brothers and sisters out there in the labor movement, the Peggy Browning Fund is the foremost protection that we have through education of our legal experts. And I encourage all of you to help, to participate, and to be open-minded about our partnership, because it's our way to protect ourselves from corporate greed. Again, to all the awardees, thank you. I'm honored, and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Soul Brother Ron. Our first Peggy Browning Award of the evening goes to the Successful Educators Campaign by United Teachers of Los Angeles, UTLA. Their unity on the picket lines 2 years ago resulted in tremendous contract and policy victories, including but going well beyond the typical economic and working condition gains unions routinely pursue. The UTLA's educators' strike caused a paradigm shift away from privatization in LA and around the nation and towards reinvestment in public education, supporting the students and families in the greater Los Angeles community and beyond. Tens of thousands of educators standing in the rain for 6 days built upon and helped inspire a new wave of union activism across the country. The Peggy Browning Award is presented to the United Teachers Los Angeles Educators Campaign, fighting for the schools LA students deserve, defending the teaching profession, empowering our communities, funding for the future. And to accept the award, I am happy to introduce the amazing Cecily Myart Cruz, President of UTLA.
Thank you so much. On behalf of our 35,000 educators and the communities we serve, our students, our parents, this award means so much to us for recognizing us for our strike and for the work that we constantly do. It is also very humbling to be awarded this award from Peggy Browning Fund. So thank you so much. This 2019 strike was definitely an example of bargaining for the common good, where we lifted up issues and concerns from students, parents, and community, along with the issues that we were facing in our strike. Things such as green space and ending random searches in schools, coupling that with having a nurse every day and lowering class sizes. Those are some of the great tenets that we were able to achieve within the contract. If you talk to folks, people still get chills when we see the pictures and we see the memories pop up. You're like, we did that. It's indescribable. I, on the first day, was at Los Angeles Center for Enriched Studies. That's my alma mater. In 1989, while my teachers were on strike, I disobeyed my principal and jumped the fence to walk with them. So to come full circle and be at my alma mater on the first day of the strike in the rain with over 400 students, community members, and parents and educators, there's no feeling quite like it. It was fantastic. There were teachers who were my teachers that were on the picket line, came back out of retirement to walk with us. It was phenomenal. And I think those type of lasting bonds, those type of just standing for righteousness and justice, that is what worker solidarity looks like. Our union depends on our labor lawyers, our legal team that helped guide us through the 2019 strike was so important. The late night phone calls, okay, what about this? Try this, do this. And just guiding us through really helped to shape what it looked like on the ground for our members. It was the invisible work that went on behind the scenes to get us to victory in 2019. We want to thank the Peggy Browning Fund for this exemplary honor of our work. But on behalf of our 35,000 members of United Teachers Los Angeles, it means so much to have true advocates that can be there for us during times of crisis, during times of happiness, but to be able to guide us in the direction of justice and freedom means so much.
What a fantastic campaign. Thank you, Cecily. I have such deep admiration for your incredible work and your continuing leadership. Our next awardee is the brilliant Duncan Crabtree Ireland, a master problem solver and strategist. Duncan is the Chief Operating Officer and General Counsel for SAG-AFTRA, where he's responsible for broad operational oversight and organizational accountability. Duncan is the legal mastermind of all aspects of collective bargaining and protecting performers' rights in Hollywood, covered by SAG-AFTRA collective bargaining agreements. He's the union's lead negotiator with major record labels and has played a pivotal role in Spanish language organizing and entertainment contracts. Duncan was critical in working to bring about the merger of the Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists into one powerful SAG-AFTRA union. And Duncan has been instrumental in taking the lead and collaborating with other unions to bring about the safe reopening of Hollywood production. Duncan has also served in many leadership positions in the community, including the LA County Bar Association and LGBT Bar Association of Los Angeles, to name just a few. Duncan received his Juris Doctorate from the University of California, Davis School of Law, where he was inducted into the Order of the Barristers. One thing is for sure, you will not find a more brilliant, creative, and effective lawyer anywhere. The Peggy Browning Award is presented to Duncan Crabtree Ireland, activist lawyer, pursuing justice, supporting the labor movement, improving the lives of working people. It is my great pleasure to introduce tonight's awardee, my wonderful friend and colleague, Duncan Crabtree Ireland.
Wow. Thank you so much, Julie. It's an honor to receive this award. I mean, even listening to you say those words is it's humbling, honestly. And I'm so proud to have been chosen as one of the recipients for this award. Thank you. It is just so important to have the best possible legal team working with unions and working for working people. And I'm really inspired because I've had the privilege for over 20 years to work as part of the legal team at Screen Actors Guild and now SAG-AFTRA. We have 160,000 plus members, and the vast majority of them are not wealthy or famous. The vast majority of them are working people who are trying to pay the rent, who are trying to just take care of their families and make a living. In my career, probably there's many things that I'm proud of. The first of them is getting the chance to work on the merger of Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists.
And I couldn't be more pleased to tell you that 82%.
Having the chance to work with such a passionate and amazing group of member leaders on the merger of those two unions, and then to have that merger work out in such a successful manner, that's definitely one of the crowning moments of my career as a lawyer, for sure. I think the other thing that jumps out is more recent, which is the work that we've done since the start of the pandemic. I was honored enough to be designated as the coordinator of SAG-AFTRA's Pandemic Safety Protocols Initiative. We were able to bring together not just our union, but also several other unions in the entertainment industry to collectively work towards a single set of protocols that would protect our members when they had to go to work on sets. And I've heard from so many members who've come to me and said, you know, I feel safe going to work, and I feel safe going to work because I know that my union has stood up for me and has made sure that my workplace is safe. One of the things that I wouldn't want to leave out is the commitment that we've had and the chance I've had to work with our Spanish language organizing efforts. We were successfully able to organize Telemundo, which is the largest Spanish language television network in the United States. It's such a tremendous honor to be an awardee of the Peggy Browning Fund, to be affiliated in any way with the name Peggy Browning. It's one of the few organizations that really is taking action to help make sure that there is balance and legal representation for workers in the labor movement. And it's just so important. If you don't have great quality representation, if you don't have the best and the brightest who are coming out of law school, going into the legal profession with workers in mind, workers are always going to be behind. We have had Peggy Browning Fellows here at SAG-AFTRA in the past, and it's been such a great opportunity to meet them and work with them. And so I really have seen firsthand the impact that Peggy Browning Fellowship can make. And I personally believe it's essential for us to have law students and new lawyers have that kind of opportunity so that they can see that path forward working for labor. There are so many people that I would like to thank. First and foremost, I need to mention my husband, John, who has helped make sure that I had the freedom to pursue this career and to do the work that I do, and still have our family with 5 children at home. I also want to thank a couple of my mentors, my labor law professor, Marty West, Bob Bush, Susan Davis, Julie Gutman Dickinson, Pete Dickinson. And I would also especially like to thank David White, National Executive Director of SAG-AFTRA. Like some of the mentors that I've had and some of the lawyers that I most admire, the most passionate advocates I know, are labor lawyers who work on the side of workers. And it just keeps me inspired every day. Again, I would just say thank you so much to the Peggy Browning Fund for this award. It's such an honor. I feel very humble in receiving it, and thank you.
Thank you, Duncan. What you have accomplished on behalf of working people and the labor movement serves as a role model to all of us, practicing labor lawyers and aspiring labor lawyers alike. Our final awardee this evening lives and breathes dignity, respect, and power for working people. He has a motto that he lives by: honesty, integrity, education, and hard work lead to success. Eric Tate began his career as a Teamster in 1992 when he became a bus driver. He was then named Shop Steward of the Year for Teamsters Local 848. Next, he became business representative and political coordinator and significantly increased the wages of his members, negotiated medical premiums for members and their families, and added a pension plan. He spearheaded Senate Bill 158, which protects the rights of privatized bus drivers to retain their jobs when new companies take over services within any city in the state of California. And when one company and city refused to comply, Eric Tate immediately called me and told me to get to work because we are fighting this to the end. And after 4 years of litigation, Teamsters Local 848 won both a published Court of Appeals decision and reimbursement of Local 848's attorney's fees and costs in litigating the case. Eric Tate regularly sends the message loud and clear that he will not back down and that employers should think twice before they break the law on Local 848's watch. Eric graduated cum laude with a bachelor's degree and is now Secretary-Treasurer of Teamsters Local 848, Assistant Director of the Teamsters Port Division, and Vice Chair of the Teamsters National Black Caucus. I've witnessed his dedication firsthand as he works round the clock on behalf of workers and the labor movement. For Eric Tate, it's 25-8. Never too early, never too late. The Peggy Browning Award is presented to Eric Tate, union activist, inspirational labor leader, supporting the labor movement, improving the lives of working people. It is a great honor to introduce tonight's Union Leader Awardee, my close friend and relentless advocate for working people, Eric Tate.
Thank you, Julie. I appreciate the sentiments and the words that you spoke. I work with Julie Gutman. She's my attorney on the port campaign that we're working on at the ports, and she handles a lot of other cases with bus drivers and so forth in my local. So it's great that she's the one that is giving me this award this evening, and I couldn't be more proud to receive this today. It's always good to hear, great comments from Ron Herrera. He's been in my corner since I became principal officer 11 years ago, and can't say enough about how he's mentored me through the years to be where I am at today. When I got into union, the bus industry I was in, they had just privatized all the bus drivers in the LA area. We started at $8 an hour. Our top rate was $8.50. So, we had to struggle, just to make ends meet at that time. And, today that same job is up to $29 an hour with benefits paid. So just being able to bring the people that I worked alongside, to a better life and now change it from being a job to a career is something that I take big pride in. Something I'm most proud of is a bill that I helped get passed through the legislature of California with the help of Barry Broad, and it's 1070 through 1074. They dubbed it in the Teamsters the Eric Tate bill, because I was the one that was pushing to get it going, and that helps workers keep their jobs when they transfer from bus company to bus company in the privatized transportation industry. I'm waiting for a check right now after suing First Transit and the city of Monterey Park. Those workers basically lost their pension, lost their medical, lost all their benefits, and we went after them. So that's a huge victory. Another campaign that I'm proud of is the port campaign. These people were basically thrown by the wayside at deregulation. I feel I know where they're coming from because I worked for dirt cheap wages at one time. I try to remember where I came from. They can lean on this local. They can lean on me on the port campaign. We put together a fundraiser to give them money when we have these work stoppages. We've done vaccines for them at the port. We've done food drives for them at the port several times during this pandemic. The pandemic, what we've gone through in the pandemic, and that one is kind of painful because just this week I've lost 3 members. And one of them I knew very well. Over at ITS. He was only 36 years old. He had three young children, and a wife that he left behind. And I'm just thinking, what are we going to do to help his family now that he's gone? I've been fighting with one of my bus companies that refuses to follow the CDC regulations, allowing passengers to get on the bus without masks on, telling the drivers to continue driving, which I'm telling the drivers, this is your life. If they can't make you risk your life, don't do it. We got 300 people there and we got 92 cases. It should have been shut down, and the company doesn't seem to care. Keep the buses rolling. That's all they care about. Keep the buses rolling, keep making us money. And that's why we need labor attorneys on our side, because the companies aren't gonna care when things get bad. You die, they're gonna get another person there to drive the bus and keep rolling. Well, my message tonight is that you need to give to the Peggy Browning Fund and give until it hurts. If you gave and it didn't hurt, you didn't give enough. So keep giving until they get everything they need to get as many attorneys out there for us instead of those attorneys going to the corporate side. I'd like to thank the Peggy Browning Fund for honoring me with this award. It truly means a lot to me. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric, for all you do. It is such an honor and privilege to work with you. Once again, congratulations to all of our wonderful awardees from the Los Angeles area. And thank you to our inspiring guest speaker and to our host committee. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's virtual awards reception. It's been a pleasure to serve as your MC and to celebrate with so many friends and colleagues. Once again, if you are moved by the messages of our speakers this evening and would like to make a personal gift or an additional gift to support students who are considering a career in the labor movement, please click on the donation link below. And thanks again to everyone for being here tonight and supporting the Peggy Browning Fund. Here's to all of you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe and be well. Good night.